You're watching Feast Week, presented by Lowe's, as we welcome you to the Puerto Rico tip-off from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Nothing better than some hoops as we head into the holiday season, and our first game up, the Illinois State Redbirds from the Missouri Valley Conference take on the SEC's South Carolina Gamecocks from the HTC Center on the campus of Coastal Carolina University. Alongside LaFonso Ellis, I'm Rich Hollenberg, and South Carolina, the headliner in this tournament. They're fresh off that Final Four last year. An 8-team field, each team guaranteed 3 games over the next 4 days. Boise State and UTEP will follow this game. Big 12 tourney champs, Iowa State in the bottom portion of the bracket. Alongside LaFonso Ellis, I am Rich Hollenberg, and Fonz, there are some must-see players in this tournament, the 18 field. Who are the ones you don't want to miss out on?
Let's look at South Carolina's Chris Silva, averaging a double-double right now. Chandler Hutchison of Boise State, the most versatile player in this tournament at 6'7". Donovan Jackson, 44% from 3. Iowa State's got to get him going. And Thomas Wilder is an absolute pro, having just scored 23 points on 0 turnovers against South Carolina.
The Redbirds wearing their red road uniforms, South Carolina in the white. Opening tip underway, and we are playing basketball in the Puerto Rico tip-off from Myrtle Beach.
Little 2-3 zone here. Illinois State will go in and out of 2-3 zone and man-to-man. The middle of the floor with Coach Sarr is where they want to get that basketball and look for opportunities to score.
Frank Martin says this might be his best shooting team in the 10 years he's been a head coach. First turnover of the game. Here's Keyshawn Evans, number 3 in red. Guarded by the freshman Minaya. Matt Hine, a last-minute starter due to some disciplinary reasons for a couple of the normal Redbird starters. First shot off the mark from William Tinsley.
You got to
Minaya,
screen
the freshman.
Yeah, you got to screen that zone here early, or look to get it into the middle of the floor and look for the skip pass or the short corner.
Big-to-big passing. It's blocked down low, but the foul is called, and Chris Silva, number 30 in white, will go to the line and shoot 2. Well, Chris Silva, big part of that run last year to the Final Four, Fonz. This was a team that won the most games ever in South Carolina history, their first Final Four in school history as well.
Well, he's such a leader, and it's been nice to be able to hear his voice. Even in the stretching routine today, it was his voice going, come on, guys, let's go, let's get warm, let's get ready to go. Averaging nearly a double-double. He'll certainly be the focus of their interior play going forward.
And you like Hassani Gravett, the main ball handler for this Gamecocks club, number 2. He's guarding Keyshawn Evans right now. He's your X factor.
He's done a really nice job of setting up the offense, but has been able to knock down shots. Beautiful backdoor cut. And those backdoor opportunities will be available for Illinois State all night long because of the overplay of the wings of South Carolina.
Here's Gravett. Off the mark, Silva the rebound, and that's one of the things he does as well as anybody in the country. Minaya can't get it to go. Scramble for the loose ball, and the Redbirds come away with it. Quick catch and fire from the freshman Bruniga off the mark.
That's a shot that he can make.
Frank Booker, number 5 in white. Graduate transfer from Oklahoma. An early 2-0 Illinois State lead. Both teams in the feeling out process still. Booker off the mark. Kotsar fights for the rebound, but Williams comes away with it.
I think Illinois State's got to look for early opportunities to try to score in transition or the secondary break.
Silva grabs another rebound, and here comes Gravett. Blocked again. Illinois State's defense has come to play in the first minutes.
Really doing a nice job of identifying where the drivers are and converging to the basketball. That time Gravett should have looked to pass that basketball across to the weak side.
Here's Bruniga again, showing that sweet stroke. Taylor Bruniga, the 6'8 freshman from Mapleton, Illinois.
We said earlier that's a shot that he can make, so Chris Silva's going to have to get out and take that shot away and force him to be a driver.
And another turnover from the Gamecocks. Can't make Frank Martin happy. Catch and fire from Evans, no. Minaya, the weak side rebound.
You know what we're seeing right now with Illinois State? We're seeing a very active 2-3 zone. You can sometimes get a little lazy in it, but they're using their speed and quickness, and they're getting their hands on quite a few basketballs here early.
Silva muscles his way in. The foul is called, and Chris Silva will go to the line again. Your officials today, Les Jones, Mark Schnorr, and Jeff Malum.
And folks, watch what happens here. Just on a little dribble, little screen and roll, pick and pop, which Bruniger is so good at, folks. He's now 5 of 8 from 3, and so you got to get back to him more quickly if you're Silva.
Chris Silva had 9 points, 10 boards in their win at Wofford to open the season, and then a double-double, 10 points and 10 rebounds in their win against Western Michigan, his 6th double-double of his career. But so far, Fonz, the Gamecocks are 0 for 5 from the field, and they just got their first point of the game. What's Illinois State doing defensively to give them trouble?
They're in that 2-3 zone, and South Carolina's done a great job of finding Kotsar and Silva on the inside. But when you catch that basketball at that free throw line area in the paint, you got to look to the rim first or look weak side. Illinois State's done a nice job of converging to the basketball. They've gotten a lot of deflections here early, so South Carolina has to be a little bit more aggressive when they catch it in the painted area.
A couple of subs coming on for Frank Martin's Gamecocks. The freshman David Beatty is in, as is Felipe Hasse, another freshman, and he likes his freshmen. As for Illinois State, if you follow the Missouri Valley Conference, they felt like they got snubbed last year, winning the regular season title, tied with Wichita State. They ended up going to the NIT instead of the NCAA tournament. We'll have more on that coming up later.
Well, a 33 RPI generally gets you in, but it didn't work for Illinois State, and they were really disappointed and discouraged by not being able to get in.
There's Dan Muller in his 5th season with his alma mater. Terrific player at Illinois State and now doing a great job as a coach. Tied with Tim Jankovic, 104 wins. That's second only to Kevin Stallings in Illinois State history. That ball goes out of bounds, and we have our first timeout of the Puerto Rico tip-off. Game 1, quarterfinal. It's 5-2 Illinois State with the early lead over the Gamecocks. Well, this basketball tournament might be held on the mainland in South Carolina, but our thoughts and our hearts are still with all the wonderful people in Puerto Rico, whether it's San Juan, where the Puerto Rico tip-off had been held for so many years, or Fajardo, where the tournament this year was scheduled to be held. And of course, everything changed after that devastating hurricane ripped through that area. And we still continue to think about all those people there that are still suffering through the after effects of a Category 4 hurricane. 54 reported deaths as of November 1st. There are still thousands upon thousands of people without power, without homes, without schools to go to, and businesses to go work at. Fonz and Rich, back inside Coastal Carolina University's HTC Center. You and I have both been there. Our families have been there. It's not just the physical land of Puerto Rico, it's the people of Puerto Rico who we care so much about and are thinking so much about.
Yeah, I've had the privilege of being there several times, and as you said, Rich, the people there are such wonderful people, and of course have been accepting of we foreigners actually coming to their land, even though it's U.S. territory, and your heart just goes out. The devastation, massive. Hopefully they can get that thing taken care of, the resources that they need to get up and going again. Wow, what a massive disaster.
And with that said, we do want to give a major shout out to the people here in Myrtle Beach, as a great pass from Keyshawn Evans goes to Malik Yarborough for his first 2 of the game. But as a visitor here to Myrtle Beach, having to put together an 18-field tournament in such a short amount of time is such an overwhelming accomplishment for the good people here. They've welcomed this tournament with open arms, not only all the teams, but all of us here at ESPN. So as much as we are thinking about Puerto Rico, and hopefully we'll be there next year, this year we do want to say thank you to the people of Myrtle Beach as well for putting on a great tournament on very short notice.
Yeah, it starts with Brad Dean at the Chamber of Commerce. He's the president, and I got a chance to know him when I used to call the Big Four, the Big South, semifinals and finals here. My first 3 years working at ESPN, this is my 9th season, and he's been very aggressive in trying to bring positive things to this community. Talk about positive, how about the Puerto Rico tip-off right here in their backyard? Well done by the mayor and Brad Dean.
Illinois State still in their zone. Hassani Gravett knocked down a technical free throw for Malik Yarborough, hanging on the rim on that last dunk for the Redbirds. Gravett. Kotsar, no. It's out of bounds. And here's a look at that nice pass, pocket pass to Yarborough.
Yeah, they felt he hung up there a little too long unnecessarily, but I know after being up there for a while, if you sense that people are underneath your legs, you will hang there for a while. So I actually didn't think it deserved a technical.
And we've got an offensive foul, says Les Jones, going the other way.
Yeah, you end up coming down too soon, Rich. You can land on someone's foot and you roll an ankle, and now one of your better players is off the floor. So I thought that was a good decision by Malik Yarborough.
There's Frank Martin, always teaching. 6th season here at South Carolina. Says his biggest pet peeve on offense is when the ball sticks. He wants his team to move the basketball around. And we'll see that a lot in this tournament, not only from the likes of South Carolina, but Boise State coming up in a little while, taking on UTEP. They like to call themselves elite ball movers. Yeah. This could be a fun tournament, especially if some of these matchups play out the way we might expect.
And with the way teams have shot 3 coming into this, even South Carolina shooting 44% from 3 on the season. Last year, 34%. So we got looking forward to some good offense in this tournament.
Evans not shy, gets fouled on the 3-point attempt, and he'll go to the line and shoot 3. Keyshawn Evans, who had a career-high 28 points in the Redbirds' opening game this year, albeit in a loss to Florida Gulf Coast. They lost 98-87, but this is a team, Fonz, that shot 51% from the field. They shot 48% from beyond the arc.
They want to play fast and get out and play fast and try to get you on the retreat, try to attack the rim, and once you compress that defense, now they're looking for opportunities to spray it. 14 made threes in their last game against Florida Gulf Coast.
Evans coming off a torn labrum last summer. Being asked to handle the rock for Dan Muller's club this year. And he knocks down all 3 free throws. A 10-3 lead, nearly 5 minutes gone by in the first half.
South Carolina, after missed shots, you got to get on that offensive glass. They have a big-time size advantage on the interior.
Inside-out passing, the 3-pointer off the mark. Gamecocks can't find the bottom of the bucket yet here in Myrtle Beach. And a palming violation on number 52 in red, Malik Yarborough. Interesting cat, Malik Yarborough. He's got all the offensive talent in the world.
Yes.
Almost got a triple-double in that game against Florida Gulf Coast. But we talked to Dan Muller about him. He said he needs to show up on the defensive end before he has the complete trust of his coach.
Yeah, when you're young and offensively gifted, and especially in the AAU culture, sometimes you don't need to play both sides of the floor. But if you're going to play for Dan Muller, you have to be able to play both ends. And if you see him pulled out early, it's because he's not getting it done on the defensive end. But he seems engaged here early.
Good hands on defense again from Illinois State. 10 to shoot for the Gamecocks.
The skip pass is what's available when that ball goes into the center.
Myers, the teardrop, got it to go. That's Wesley Myers, a graduate transfer from Maine. Believe it or not, the first field goal of the morning for South Carolina.
A little bit of a pass fake, froze the defensive rotation, allowing the gap for him to drive down. Good recognition there.
And hey, we shouldn't be surprised that this is a defensive-minded game, should we, Fonz?
Not at all. South Carolina, one of the most efficient defenses in the nation last year, and Illinois State, #1 in defensive efficiency in the Missouri Valley Conference. These two teams get after it. Listen to the talking that's taking place from the back line. That's a sign of a successful defense.
Left-handed shot again, this time no good from Corey Holden. He's a transfer from Delaware.
in spite of the superior size of South Carolina, Illinois State's done a great job of boxing out and limiting this team to one and done.
Madison Williams, the pull-up, no. Gamecocks want to run. And that's going to be a foul on Illinois State. Well, Frank Martin, not necessarily a huge fan of playing freshmen, but he likes his freshman class, and David Beatty's one of those, a 6'2", 205 freshman from out of Philadelphia.
Yeah, he and Justin Minaya, number 10, both of those guys give them superior defense on the defensive end and guys who can actually get out and score it in transition as well.
Tried to thread the bounce pass into Silva, who lost the handle. Here's Yarborough. Foul on the floor before the shot. And you can tip off your weekend with another NBA doubleheader on ESPN. Russ, Carmelo, and PG-13 leading OKC in the first one at 8 Eastern against LaMarcus Aldridge and the Spurs. Then it's Boogie, the Brow, and the Pelicans in Denver to take on the Nuggets, Fonz's old team. Coverage begins with NBA Countdown at 7 Eastern on Friday. Speaking of OKC, Fonz, PJ Dozier, part of that Final Four team last year for Frank Martin. He's now playing for the Thunder.
Yeah, PJ Dozier, I mean, a guy who can score it at all three levels, and his ability to be able to break you down on the offensive end and be able to create offense for himself and his teammates is really what makes him special.
Dozier was one of a couple of big-time players, namely Sindarius Thornwell, who left this program better than when they first got there. And Frank Martin will always have a place for them. As a matter of fact, Sindarius Thornwell now has a scholarship endowed in his name.
Really?
For a South Carolina student-athlete playing basketball.
He was a dominant player, not only throughout the season, but in the NCAA tournament as well. Nice pass.
Hasse got it to Silva. Silva will go to the line. We've seen a lot of good big-to-big passing so far from South Carolina.
Yeah, when you're playing against the 2-3 zone, again, the key is getting that basketball into that free throw line area to your big. First look should be to the rim or to the short corner, and what a nice read by Hasse underneath. And I love bigs who can make great passes, and what a beautiful bounce pass underneath the Silva.
Silva now 2 for 5 from the line this afternoon, and what a story Chris Silva is. Played for Roselle Catholic in New Jersey, a really great program, but he had to take 6,000 miles worth of flights, 4 flights just to get from his home in Gabon to the United States and JFK International a bunch of years ago. And the first thing he said when he got off the flight to his coach, he said, "I go to the NBA, coach."
Only been playing the game for 5 years, but you can see how impactful he was in that NCAA tournament. And they're going to need him to be that way if they want to have a great season. Silva's going to have to be the anchor on the interior on the offensive end and continue to be that terrific rim protector on the defensive end.
Double figures in all 5 NCAA games last year on that run to the Final Four. Had a career-high 17 points and 10 rebounds against Duke in that one. Here's Minaya, left-hander, 3, no. Silva, the offensive rebound. And he's a man among boys down on the low block.
Well, again, South Carolina has such tremendous size advantage here over Illinois State. They should dominate the offensive glass, and that's going to be a key here. Illinois State only has 8 scholarship guys here in this game. They have 3 guys who are injured that they depend on for offense and defense, and so this South Carolina team has a lot of depth, so I'm concerned about Illinois State's ability to maintain their intensity over a long period of time. Let's see if South Carolina's defense can wear them down.
Chris Silva's rise in basketball in the United States has been meteoric, to say the least. As you said, he really didn't start playing ball until he was a teenager. 1,000 makes a day. That's not 1,000 shots, youngsters watching out there. 1,000 makes a day. You put in the time in the gym, good things happen, and now he is an NBA prospect.
Well, one of the areas where he's expanded his game is the ability to knock down threes. I watched him yesterday in shoot-around knock down 7 straight, and Frank Martin wants he and Kosar to take that top threes, and he likes them taking the corner threes as well. Let's see if he gets one here in this game. look at how far South Carolina forces you to catch the basketball out on the floor. Really disrupts your rhythm offensively.
And Malik Yarborough gets it to go. He'll have a chance at a three-point play with 11:42 when we come back here at the first game of the Puerto Rico tip-off. Coming, it'll be a softer side of Frank Martin, the Final Four coach from a year ago, when we come back.
There's something powerful when you impact others. And what these kids have done, it's pretty special. They've impacted our community in an unbelievable way, which is worth so much more than the score of the game. That's what it's all about. These kids are great role models. I don't get to coach them anymore, but they're part of my life forever.
There is a loyalty that is in Frank Martin's DNA. I asked him yesterday, what was the best text you got after your team reached the Final Four? And you would have thought it would have been a celebrity, because I'm sure he got a lot of texts from celebrities. He said it was his high school basketball coach, Shaky Rodriguez. That's who he was most proud of receiving a text from. Still talks to him all the time.
Yeah, he's been a tremendous mentor to him, and even when things are going well, wow, backdoor, nice pass there over the top.
And there's the first two of the afternoon for Phil Fain. Number 10 in red, the 6'9" junior out of Elk Grove, California.
And folks, against the 2-3 zone, if you don't take away vision at the top, now all of a sudden you open up the backside for lob opportunities. Illinois State has done a terrific job of being patient against that pressure defense, man-to-man of South Carolina's, and now South Carolina comes out with a wrinkle of a 2-3 zone. That same patience was beneficial on that play. Great read from the top.
And now Chris Silva, who has dominated the interior in this first half, has to take a seat with Frank Martin on the bench. He's saddled with 2 fouls. Fain can't complete the three-point play. It's a 12-7 Illinois State lead, 11:24 to go in the first half. Kotsar mid-post, turns it over.
See how quickly he's moving, Kotsar, when he catches it inside. When you catch the basketball inside against zone a man, you have to turn and face the rim and be patient. Move it too quickly there and turn that basketball over. Kotsar's got to slow down.
It has not been a good start for South Carolina in the Puerto Rico tip-off from Myrtle Beach. 5 turnovers, 1 for 11 from the field. And Malik Yarborough turns it over for the Redbirds. That's their 5th.
Now, as talented as Malik Yarborough is, that's his 2nd carry now. They've got to get some more ball and body movement on the offensive end. They will not win this game going one-on-one against one of the best defensive teams in the country. Trying to grab it going here.
Yeah, drive and kick against this zone. Doesn't seem to be working. Swinging around. Patience from the Gamecocks offense results in an easy bucket.
We talked about against the zone, the areas to attack. Free throw line area, short corner, beautifully executed there from the short corner that time by South Carolina. What a pass from Gravett.
It's a 1-possession game, 12-9 Illinois State with the ball. Ron Martin, a little start and stop. It goes out of bounds. It'll stay Illinois State ball with 13 seconds on the shot clock.
And folks, watch the vision from Gravett. Quick little pocket pass on the interior to the short corner, and that time Kotsar patient, making a great move to the rim and finishing over the top. Beautifully executed there by South Carolina against that 2-3 zone.
Evans found some room to squeeze off the jumper, no good. Offensive rebound to Fain and a fresh shot clock, but they turn it over.
Tell you what, being overmanned or undermanned here in terms of available bodies for Illinois State, I've been impressed with their toughness and their fight here early against one of the most physical teams in the nation.
No one's ever going to accuse an Illinois State team coached by Dan Muller of being soft. We see Gravett knocked down the three. First three-pointer of the afternoon for the Gamecocks.
We just said that Gravett had to get involved in this offense. I like when he's confidently looking for a shot. He's been trying to get everyone set up, but he's got to be aggressively looking for his offense as well. You're seeing every aspect of Gravett's game. We saw him make a little pocket pass, a reversal, and now he steps into an open look for a three. Confident three-point make there, and he's shooting really well from the three-point line this year. Nice 5 of 6 from 3. South Carolina needs a lot more of that from Gravett. What a pass.
Good entry pass. Yarborough couldn't finish at the rim.
He's athletic enough. He's got to dunk that basketball when he catches it around the rim. What a cut.
Kotsar can't get it to go. And the foul as well on Mike Kotsar. That's the second on the sophomore from Estonia. Well, fresh off their thrashing of Notre Dame,
wow.
Undefeated at 7th-ranked Miami has their sights set on the college football playoff. I didn't write this, Fonz, I promise.
You sure?
The Canes journey returns home to Hard Rock Stadium to take on Virginia Saturday at noon on ESPN, or on ABC rather. Canes and Cavs also streaming live on the ESPN app. And I have 2 words for you, Fonz.
What's that, buddy?
Turnover chain. Turnover chain. Turnover chain.
Indeed, I made a little mistake earlier. You should have gotten a turnover chain for that one, pal.
Tie ball game. Gamecocks can't take the lead on the Gravett jumper.
Got to look for some early opportunities in transition, Illinois State.
Evans goes up, gets fouled hard, and Keyshawn Evans will go to the line and shoot 2.
Because of the athleticism that Illinois State has, whenever South Carolina misses shots or turns it over, they got to get out and go. Evans with a nice little change of direction, a little hesitation there to get the defense kind of retreating, and then he bursts. And those opportunities are available to them a ton against South Carolina.
Feels very much like this Illinois State Redbirds team is relishing the role of underdog against the Final Four team from a year ago. First miss from the free throw line for Keyshawn Evans.
Turns out that Keyshawn Evans is quite a chef. I asked him yesterday, what's his best dish? Shrimp Alfredo. And I was like, hey, where'd you learn that? He said his mom, Catherine Ellis, taught him how to cook when he was young.
1 for 2 from the line. Evans has 4. Illinois State back on top by 1. Gamecocks have not led in this game. What do they need to do offensively?
Attack here. And they've missed easy opportunities. And Hasse's an excellent shooter, but when they've been able to get it in that middle area, I don't think they've been aggressively looking to score, and they got to do that going forward. What a drive.
How about the little guy? Matt Hine, a spot starter this morning, gets his first 2. Coming off an injury, they weren't even sure if he was going to play in this
exactly
tournament.
Right.
Runner by Myers comes up short. Ball's out of bounds. It's going to stay South Carolina basketball.
And Illinois State will allow South Carolina to take those flyers when they're driving to the basket. But watch this one here. How about Hine? Little shot fake. And able to get that thing up in the air and off the glass before the defense got there. Again, I love the toughness that the Redbirds are playing with today. Well, look how small that lineup is.
I was going to say, the first thing we both noticed when they walked on the floor for warm-ups was how much bigger South Carolina is than Illinois State, and yet no fear in the hearts of the Redbirds. Another turnover. Evans surrounded by Gamecock defenders.
Yeah, 4 people around you. You got to make that pass. Poor decision there by Fain. Haven't heard Booker's name in this game for South Carolina.
8 minutes on the Beezer. It's 15-12, Illinois State with the lead. It's going to be South Carolina basketball when we come back from the Puerto Rico tip-off. We have a media timeout Dan Muller's Illinois State Redbirds with a 3-point lead over the Gamecocks. He took to Twitter after a big snub last year. We'll check out his Bitmoji game when we come back after this. Rich Hollenberg, LaFonso Ellis back at the Puerto Rico tip-off at Myrtle Beach, part of Feast Week presented by Lowe's. And Dan Muller is a man of the people, shall we say, Fonz. He's in touch with what the youngsters like to do on social media.
Right.
And last year, after they had such a record-breaking and successful regular season, co-champions of the Missouri Valley Conference, he went to Twitter and used the Bitmoji saying, I believe that he was going to make the NCAA tournament.
Sure.
And lo and behold, the very next day, he finds out he's snubbed. So he sent out a challenge to all the power conference schools, the ACC, the Big Ten, the Big 12, the SEC, the Pac-12, even the Big East, saying, give me a call. I want to play you in a home-and-home next year. And wouldn't you know it, be careful what you wish for, because they have one bear of a non-conference schedule this year. They already had to go to Fort Myers and take on Florida Gulf Coast, a good Florida Gulf Coast team. They lost that game 98-87. Obviously, this is a tough field. Then they go at Nevada, at BYU, at Ole Miss in the month of December.
And remember how many players they've actually lost from last year with so many new complimentary players out there on the floor. That is a monster of a schedule to play against. But I tell you what, we talk about fight and toughness. If those things are indicators of their ability to be able to handle it, I think they're in pretty good shape because they've been awfully fierce this morning.
Gamecocks work it down low, kick it back out, grab it, three, short.
He never got
the
that
rebound goes to Gassman.
Yeah, Gravitt never got that basketball cleanly in his hands.
Gamecocks really struggling against this Illinois State defense. There's a three. Off the mark, weak side rebound to Booker.
See, I think South Carolina's athletic and quick enough to be able to take advantage of some early opportunities in transition as well. When you're playing against a good zone team, you won't have to play against it for 40 minutes. You got to look for some opportunities to get there early and attack that rim. Booker's got to get going.
Deep three. No, and the rebound to Yarborough. Another one and done for South Carolina. What a feed to fame.
What a pass.
Now you see why he almost had a triple-double.
Oh, indeed.
Malik Yarbrough, 8 points, 8 rebounds, 10 assists against Florida Gulf Coast in their opening game, and he's showing all those skills right now.
Folks, look at the versatility here. This is 6'6", folk, on the handle with his eyes up, and just a laser pass to the running Phil Fain, and a beautiful finish off the wrong leg. How about that? Malik Yarbrough, man. I love his feel for the game.
5-point Redbirds lead. They have never trailed in this game. Myers, way off the mark. And Gassman grabs the rebound.
Notice, Rich, how everything lately for South Carolina has been a jump shot. They've got to get that basketball, some drives to the basket on ball reversals, or throw that basketball inside and play inside out. Way too many jump shots right now for South Carolina.
3 for 20 from the field for South Carolina. Yarbrough thought about the pocket pass. Instead, he pulls the trigger.
Rich, you know how difficult that is to do? Is to just stop on a dime that way, pull the basketball back from passing it, and have the balance to be able to knock down a shot. Malik Yarbrough showing it all today.
A 7-0 run by the Redbirds, matching their largest lead of the game, which is 7. And more to cheer about for Illinois State.
Rich, with Chris Silva out of the game with 2 fouls, now all of a sudden, wow, look at that, folks. And he held that left pivot foot and still had the wherewithal and the balance to be able to get that shot off. Look at this one. Still knocks it down. That's elite level athleticism right there.
Usually you talk about a shot fake. That was a pass fake.
Oh, my gosh. And what happens is it takes your momentum forward, so it's very difficult not to lose your balance and keep balance to get a shot off. Man, we're seeing a full array of skills from number 52 in red.
Yarborough, good stroke on the free throw. He has 5. And Chris Silva's had to watch from the bench for most of this half, saddled with 2 fouls.
Indeed, and when he goes out of the game, now all of a sudden, and you thought Coach Sar would kind of step up and really anchor the offense and the defense on the interior, but Hasse has not showed any confidence on the interior when he's caught that basketball. Those two have to play with a lot more confidence for South Carolina.
To call it a sloppy first half from South Carolina would be an understatement. Frank Martin's going to have some words at halftime. That's a nice entry pass.
You see how confidently Doumbia caught that basketball and how quickly he made that move to the basket? That's the kind of confidence that the interior players of South Carolina are going to have to play with.
Yarborough will go back to the free throw line.
Rich, I think on ball screen situations right now with Yarborough handling the basketball, South Carolina's going to have to switch that action because now the big is trailing late, and when he sees that big inside, he just makes a little hesitation move and get to the gap. He's doing a phenomenal job of taking over this game on the offensive end for the Redbirds.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Visit Myrtle Beach. Go to visitmyrtlebeach.com to plan your vacation. And by Gildan. Love your dad, but don't wear his underwear. Gildan, every thread counts. Again, I don't write this stuff.
That's pretty good, though.
I didn't think I'd be saying that on national TV.
And you did.
We love the folks at Gildan, though.
Indeed.
Yarborough, last 6 Illinois State points. He has 8. The lead is 9.
The middle of that floor is wide open.
Minaya back on the floor, the freshman, number 10 in white.
Booker's got to get going here.
Booker still can't find the range. Under 5 minutes to go, 23-14 Illinois State. Quarterfinal round of the Puerto Rico tip-off from Myrtle Beach, part of Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. Keyshawn Evans getting pressured. And the foul's going to be called on Wesley Myers.
Yeah, new rule here this year, Rich. When the offensive player has the basketball, the defensive player is no longer allowed to straddle your legs anymore. They're going to call that a foul each and every time. Not only did he straddle his leg, he actually went into his cylinder, forcing Evans to fall backwards. It's a really good call by the official.
Evans, the free throw rolls off.
Folks, watch this here. Watch when Evans picks up this basketball. Watch how just he gets that. See how he's up into his cylinder and straddling his body? That is an automatic defensive foul this year. They are not going to allow that to take place going forward. That's a good call by the official.
This was a rules change year, too, for the NCAA. Every 2 years you're able to modify, change rules as Evans goes 1 for 2 from the free throw line. Takes away a little bit of the aggressive nature of defense, but
Indeed.
Again, it frees up the airspace. That's a big buzzword that you're hearing from the NCAA.
Exactly
they want to free up the airspace.
So we'll grab it back in the game right now. I expect some better passing and more efficient offense here from South Carolina.
Hasse had some conviction on that one, but missed the left hand.
But did you see once Whedon got to the top of his shot how he really didn't want to shoot it? And that's why when Doumbia caught that basketball last time, I thought he shot that ball with some conviction. Got to be a more aggressive on the interior of the front line here of South Carolina.
It's been a tightly called game by this officiating crew. Les Jones, Mark Schnurr, Jeff Malum, and now Justin Minaya is whistled for his second foul.
Tell you what, sometimes when you're playing against a scrambling defensive team and you can't quite run your options, it helps to have a playmaker out there on the floor who can just get a bucket or make a play. That guy's been Malik Yarborough here early.
He's been the star of the game so far. Your X factor in this contest coming to play.
It's been so good because Phil Fain didn't get his first basket until well into this first half, so they've needed some other guys to step up. Malik Yarborough's been that guy.
There's Fain on the bench, a 12-point Illinois State lead. South Carolina coming off opening win against Wofford, 73-52. They beat Western Michigan 78-60, but they are down big against a gritty, gutty Illinois State team. Here comes Minaya on the break. First 2 of the afternoon for the freshman from Harrington Park, New Jersey. And under 4 minutes, 3:47 to go in the first half, a 10-point Illinois State lead. They have led from the opening tip. Some beautiful sights and scenes from our host, Myrtle Beach. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Hurry in today for huge savings on all things winter. And by Gillette, the best a man could get. Coming up on our Land Rover halftime report, which is about 3 minutes and 47 seconds away, Molly McGrath will be in studio. She'll take a closer look back at Frank Martin and the South Carolina Gamecocks' trip to the Final Four last season and this season's Media Day preview as well. Don't forget there are other Feast Week tournaments taking place. As a matter of fact, in this same state, the Charleston Classic going on right now. Indiana State, you wouldn't necessarily consider them a headliner, but they already picked off the Hoosiers earlier this season. A lot of people thought the Missouri Valley Conference was going to be down this year. We're seeing an Illinois State team that's coming to play, and now Indiana State is showing up too.
Yeah, Missouri State's going to be really good this year. Again, this is usually, especially the top of the Missouri Valley Conference, very competitive, and that's not going to change with the absence of Wichita State.
Evans nearly turned it over. Nice save by Gassman. We mentioned that Gildan-Charleston Classic. Auburn taking on Indiana State. That's going on right now on ESPNU. Temple, Fran Dunphy, and his Temple Owls taking on ODU. Clemson staying in state. They'll take on Ohio, and that's another fun tournament in one of my favorite food cities in the country in Charleston, South Carolina.
Really? Why your favorite food city?
Why?
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Charleston?
I have not.
Come on, my man. We got to take a road trip.
Really?
Yeah.
Grab the girls and go, huh? What's your favorite restaurant there?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Husk is always top of my list.
Nice.
Right next to Pugin's Porch.
Nice.
Illinois State on top 11, 27-16. Booker, 8 on the shot clock. Here's Myers. Can't get it to go. Hasse almost got the offensive rebound, but lost it. Nothing going South Carolina's way.
Offense in total disarray with Chris Silva on the bench.
Here's Gravett from the corner. A welcome sight, his second three-pointer of the game.
Well, we said earlier that he's got to be a bit more aggressive to hunt his shot on the offensive end. And he stepped up and hits a couple of huge threes here to keep Illinois State from running away with this one.
But just 2 for 12 from beyond the arc in this first half. There's Gassman, the former walk-on. No. And South Carolina, a chance to start a little run.
Rabbit's open to the right, missed him.
Counting down to 2 minutes to go in the first half. A forgettable one for South Carolina. Hasse off the window, can't get it to go.
Tell you what, 3 balls, short 8-footers, right at the rim. Tons of missed opportunities here by South Carolina in this first half.
Yarborough running the point, throws it out of bounds. Another Illinois State turnover, that's 7.
With the interior players of South Carolina struggling here. Booker, number 5 in white, Frank Booker's got to knock down some open shots because Illinois State's done a great job of really harassing anyone who's caught the basketball on the inside around the free throw line area. So you got to be able to knock down some perimeter shots. Booker's the one that can do it.
This zone defense from Illinois State has given the Gamecocks fits in the first 20 minutes. 10 on the shot clock. Gravett lost it, but it's a kick ball. It'll stay South Carolina basketball. And Gravett and Frank Booker having a little conversation there. Maybe some miscommunication between the two backcourt mates.
We'll make sure. You're going under.
Officials trying to clean things up inside. 1:18 to go.
A little blinded to that one, Rich. I couldn't quite see what was going on.
Hasse out to Booker.
Wow. It's over the back.
And Gay called for the foul.
It's a really good job of Illinois State boxing out, maintaining inside position.
And that's a 7-footer losing a rebound to Malik Yarborough, who checks in at 6'6".
You know what? Sometimes it's not about size or height on the interior. It's about positioning. Malik Yarborough did a great job of getting inside and holding that box out and forcing them to push him underneath. Illinois State's really done a nice job here in the first half of executing in the little things, and that's why they find themselves up 8.
Well, Illinois State only went to the line 16 times against Florida Gulf Coast. How about today, Fonz? They're 13 for 18.
Yeah, look at them. They're fighting on the inside. I mean, they could easily concede it on the interior, but it's been Malik Yarborough, not only in the offensive end, but he's done a terrific job of fighting against a much larger front line of South Carolina. Illinois State has dominated this first half.
Yarborough, perfect from the free throw line, leads all scorers with 12 points. Gravett got fouled shooting from behind the arc, so Hassani Gravett will go to the line and shoot 3.
Keyshawn Evans is first. Team 7. To the line for the game clock. Number 2 is Hassani Gravett.
Gravett good on the first. Well, they've been playing this one since 1929. A little Saturday night football at 8 Eastern on ABC. Number 11 USC hosts UCLA at the Coliseum. The victory bell is on the line. Trojans and Bruins also streaming live on the ESPN app. Gravett misses the last one. Under a minute to go, 29-20, Illinois State. Fain from the wing. Got to the hoop, but couldn't get the bucket. Met there by the 7-footer Gay. 3-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock.
Good ball movement.
Myers, 3, yes. And that's what happens when the ball doesn't stick.
Indeed. Myers coming to this game was 2 of 5 from 3, and South Carolina's just not been able to knock down perimeter jump shot. That was a huge momentum builder as they get ready to go into halftime.
5 to shoot. Yarborough. Evans got it off and knocks it down. Keyshawn Evans' first field goal of the game extends the Illinois State lead to 32-23 at the half.
Malik Yarborough's ability to be able to take guys one-on-one at 6'6", he's been able to impact this game in every way. None better than this drive. Draws 2 guys to him, finds Keyshawn over in the corner, a little sidestep, giving him a room to knock that big 3 down.
Here's one more look at it with time running down. 1 to go and enough time for Keyshawn Evans, who has 8 points. He's one of the leaders for the Redbirds, who lead the Gamecocks 32-23 at the half. Back at halftime of the 2017 Puerto Rico tip-off in Myrtle Beach, part of Feast Week presented by Lowe's. We're on the campus of Coastal Carolina University's HTC Center, and don't change your dial because the Illinois State Redbirds from the Missouri Valley Conference are in upset alert, trying to pick off the SEC's South Carolina Gamecocks. The score at the half, 32-23. Following this game over on ESPNU, it'll be Boise State against UTEP. Rich Hollenberg, LaFonso Ellis back inside the HTC Center. And speaking of that Boise State UTEP team, boy, if you haven't heard about Chandler Hutchinson, you are in for a treat. What do you like so much about the Bronco?
At 6'7", his versatility just jumps off the page. Long arms, can get to the rim, shot 38% from three last year. He's the heart and soul of this Boise State team. As Chandler Hutchinson go, so do the Broncos.
Wait till you see what he can do. A little bit of everything, even tested the NBA waters, but decided to come back and play for Leon Rice and the Broncos. They're going to be taking on Tim Floyd's UTEP Miners in Game 2 of the quarterfinals of the Puerto Rico tip-off from Myrtle Beach. And even though we're not in Puerto Rico like we wished we were, we're still enjoying the sights. It's that time of year again, college basketball fans. Feast Week presented by Lowe's as we welcome you back to the 2017 Puerto Rico tip-off at Myrtle Beach. From the Coastal Carolina University HTC Center, it's the Illinois State Redbirds with a 32-23 lead over the South Carolina Gamecocks. Fonz, the turnovers were a big part of the story. This 2-3 zone has been giving South Carolina fits in the first half.
Yeah, very active in it. A lot of deflected balls. Look at as this ball goes inside. Now the guard's coming over, and then they've been able to get out in transition. And on the offensive end, when you can't get it going, everybody needs a hero. That hero was Malik Yarbrough, coming up with big baskets and making plays for his teammates. The pinpoint passes that he made in the first half, just spectacular. And he's been engaged on the defensive end, coming up with deflections and rebounds as well.
12 points in 15 minutes for Malik Yarbrough. He didn't start this game due to disciplinary reasons, but when he came in, he took over. And this Illinois State team has been a monster on the boards as well, which is a big surprise. 21-20 rebounding edge. And what a way to start the second half.
And Rich, we talked about in the first half that because of how, and this is the guy that's got to get going for South Carolina State, Booker has not been able to knock down his usual number of three-point shots.
He's now 0 for 5 from beyond the arc is Frank Booker, number 5 in white. Illinois State continues to attack. They went to the line a lot in the first half. They're going back there now.
You see how overly aggressive. Watch how they're up in the passing lanes. That opens up the back door. We watched the Illinois State Redbirds work on that for about 25 minutes yesterday. Their execution against that aggressive defense of South Carolina has been really good, not only in the first half, but what a great way to start the second half as well.
Mike Kotsar, the 6'10 sophomore, knocks down the first free throw. It's his first attempt of the afternoon. He's 1 for 2 from the line. So it's a 10-point lead for Illinois State.
Need Kotsar to be much more aggressive on the inside, as they do from Silva. But Silva's got to stay out of foul trouble because they struggled when he went out in the first half. Mismatch here.
Pinned against the board by Silva. See if defense can lead to offense. Here's the freshman Minaya taking it strong. He gets fouled, and Justin Minaya will go to the line and shoot too.
And folks, when you catch the basketball inside against a little guy, you got to make a quick move to the rim, because if not, you allow a defender to come over and challenge the shot. How about the quick reaction by Chris Silva, coming nearly from the three-point line at the top to erase that one. What a great effort by Chris Silva, but he's done that his entire career.
He came in fully formed on the defensive end, blocking shots. Now he's adding an offensive game to his repertoire.
Indeed.
Minaya knocks down the first. Justin Minaya, a freshman out of New Jersey. His father, if you're a baseball fan, Omar Minaya, longtime baseball executive, Expos, and New York Mets, now with the San Diego Padres organization.
Minaya carries himself like a pro.
Yes.
Very serious, very
Frank
locked
Martin was
in,
telling us.
detailed oriented.
Preternaturally mature for a youngster.
Well said.
Gets that from hanging out in a lot of Major League Baseball clubhouses.
Indeed.
Going the other way. Yarbrough can't believe it.
Well, Rich, that's where it works on the opposite end. Malik Yarbrough went into the cylinder of Minaya, and when they do that these days, the referees are going to make that call. What a great job by Minaya, keeping good defensive positioning. and able to jump into his chest and draw that offensive foul. Nicely done by the freshman.
And Yarborough goes to the bench. Mark the time, Fonz. A minute and a half gone by in the second half. Let's see if Illinois State could keep that momentum without their leader on the floor.
Yeah, the best playmaker on that team is Malik Yarborough. Keyshawn Evans, number 3 in red, is going to have to take over on the offensive end for Illinois State.
Good ball movement by South Carolina. Silva went up with the left hand and got fouled.
I like it when the South Carolina bigs make quick moves when they catch the basketball down on the block or when they catch it in the painted area. Silva did a really nice job of just making a quick spin using that left hand over the top.
Chris Silva was 4 for 8 from the free throw line in the first half. Doesn't have a field goal in this game. Now with 5 points, and we watched him during practice yesterday. This kid can stroke it from beyond the arc, and Frank Martin told his big guy, if you're open outside the three-point line, shoot that shot.
Especially from the top and in the corners, and he's given that green light to both Silva and Kotsar.
All of a sudden, a 7-point game now. South Carolina trying to claw their way back in this one. Quarterfinal round of the Puerto Rico tip-off from Myrtle Beach. Out of bounds, an Illinois State turnover.
Much more aggressive here defensively. South Carolina did a nice job, Booker, of recognizing that return pass, and he jumped in the lane, which created a little indecision, which created that turnover. He's got to keep going inside.
Anaya tried to force it inside the Kotsar, and it was picked off by the Redbirds D. Gravett extending that Gamecocks defense now. Evans knocks it down. Keyshawn Evans ended the first half with a triple, and now he's got another one in the second half. 11 for Keyshawn.
We just said with Malik Yarborough on the bench now with fouls is Keyshawn has to take over this game. He'll look for him to be a lot more aggressive here.
Kotsar, left hand, yes, from the baseline. Mike Kotsar has his first field goal of the second half, 5 in the game.
That's a valuable weapon when you have bigs who can knock down that 15-foot jump shot.
Evans ran into a brick wall named Kotsar, and he turned it over.
2 possessions now. Keyshawn Evans has gone too deep on the drive.
Gravett, yes, had a path cleared by his teammate Silva, and a timeout from Illinois State. Hassani Gravett gets his first bucket of the second stanza. 16:53 to go. It's a 2-possession ball game. South Carolina has never led. They're down by 6. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Hurry in today for huge savings on all things winter. And by Heineken. Open your world. Enjoy responsibly. We're back. Second half action of the first game of the Puerto Rico tip-off from Myrtle Beach, part of Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. Hassani Gravett is the only Gamecocks player in double digits. He has 10, courtesy of this straight line drive before the timeout. And we've got a tight ball game, 37-31, Illinois State in the lead. Back inside the HTC Center on the campus of Coastal Carolina University in South Carolina, alongside LaFonso Ellis. I'm Rich Hollenberg. South Carolina trailed in the first half. They trailed the whole game, but they're a little bit friskier in the second half. What have they been doing differently?
They're coming out defensively and really reacting quickly to the basketball, and just when you think you can reverse it, they're jumping the passing lane. That's created 2 turnovers here that allowed South Carolina to get out in transition. You're talking about a team, folks, that was 3rd in the country in turning people over last year, points off turnovers, which accounted for 25% of their total points. When South Carolina's playing that kind of defense, they are very tough to beat, and that's what's put them in position to be only down 6 here.
Out of a timeout again, Illinois State with an answer. Madison Williams, his first bucket of the afternoon. 15 points for South Carolina off Illinois State turnovers. Frank Martin's calling card is his defense. He's going to need that defense to step up a little bit and create some offense. Yeah,
they're much more aggressive here. And I said early, with this group particularly, and their ability with the wings that they have that can get out and run, they've got to be able to create some points off of turnovers, and it starts with their defense.
Grab it.
Frank Booker's going to have to make some shots, though. He's completely lost his confidence.
0 for the field. Here's Kotsar with the left hand. Too strong. And William Tinsley brings it up.
Nice
Nice feed. Woo! Fein had it erased by Silva again. Now Minaya. Got it! And South Carolina's back in this ball game.
See, I think this group is better when they play with pace. We talked about it earlier, looking for opportunities to score in transition or the secondary break. Beautifully executed there by South Carolina.
5-point ball game, 39-34. Silva got a hand, or that was Minaya with a hand in the passing lane. And now there's just 8 to shoot for the Redbirds. Williams does. It was good defense by the Gamecocks. Booker picked off by Williams. And an easy 2 with a flush at the other end for Madison Williams.
Tell you what, just when you think that Illinois State's losing a little confidence, they come up with a defensive play that gives them an easy one to keep the momentum in their favor.
We have not seen an animated Frank Martin that much in this first round game from the Puerto Rico tip-off, but he is fired up now.
And folks, it's been the active hands and defense of Illinois State and finishes like that in transition that have given them a 7-point lead.
It's a 7-point Illinois State lead. They have never trailed in this contest. The Redbirds carved in sand, but they look like they're carved in stone coming out against the South Carolina Gamecocks. Some beautiful artwork. The sand sculpture we spent some time in front of.
Oh, we did.
And there's Dan Muller on the left, Frank Martin on the right. Both some common ties coming into this season. Both led their teams respectively to record-breaking seasons last year. Most wins in school history for Muller and for Martin at their schools. And this year, it's rebuild time. Neither team expected to compete at the top of their respective leagues, but both have chance to get better as the season goes on.
And it's because both teams have elite defenses.
Illinois State's been great out of timeouts this contest. Here's Bruniga, short. And Gassman gets a fresh shot clock. Quick fire from Martin, no good. And here comes Gravett. The look up ahead, Kotsar. Left hand is good.
Yeah, those early opportunities have been good for South Carolina. They got to get more of them.
Don't let that zone defense set up for Illinois State.
That's exactly right.
Great matchup here, Yarborough, Silva. Les Jones waves it off. Foul's going to be on the floor. And if that's on Silva, that's number 3. And immediately, number 13 in white, Felipe Hasse is off the bench. And Chris Silva will be sitting. Have to see how long Frank Martin keeps the heartbeat of this team on the bench right now in crunch time.
Well, when he went out earlier, they really struggled across that front line. And so Kotsar is going to have to pick it up, he and Hasse on the interior. Nice cut.
Inside, Tinsley no good. Chance to make it a one-possession ball game for the Gamecocks. 6 minutes gone by in the second half. Minaya, way off on the 3, and the weak side rebound to Yarborough.
Yeah, that ball's got to go inside. Play inside out. Too quick there.
Tinsley catching fire, rebound to Hasse.
Nice.
Big to big. And the freshman Hasse has his first bucket of the afternoon.
And that's what happens when you throw that basketball into the post area. The defense turns and stares at the basketball, opens you up to cuts on the backside. Well executed by South Carolina.
Yarborough would not be denied on the straight line drive to the hoop, and the foul's going to be called on Justin Minaya, his 3rd.
And folks, watch this. We've been asking for it the entire time. There's the post feed across. Now everyone's staring at it, which allowed Hasse to sneak in behind. Those opportunities are available a ton for South Carolina. They cannot continue to settle for the perimeter jump shot. They have to throw that basketball inside.
So Minaya stays on the floor with 3 fouls, and meanwhile, there's Chris Silva on the bench with 3 fouls.
South Carolina in a 2-3 zone of their own. Redbirds have to do the same thing, either screen it or get it into that free throw line area or short corner and attack.
8 to shoot. Evans guarded by Beatty.
There's the screen.
With 3 on the shot clock. Evans can't get it to fall. South Carolina could tie with a 3. Gravett tries. Short.
It's a settle. Numbers here.
The follow no good. South Carolina just 4 for 19 from beyond the arc. That one's blocked by Fame. And Evans wisely pulls it back out. Some quick triggers on the offensive end for the Redbirds.
Yeah, quick triggers on both ends. Both teams have to slow down and move the basketball, force that defense to work. You get that same shot later in the shot clock, especially against the zone.
Here's Hasse. No look, corner 3. Too strong. Kotsar, that's a man's rebound by Mike Kotsar. And did they call it a foul or a jump ball?
Jump ball, they tied it up.
We have 11:59 to go. A big lead by Illinois State has been cut to just 3 by Frank Martin's Gamecocks. Feast Week is officially underway in 2017, and we are loving life in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It's the Puerto Rico tip-off in Myrtle Beach, and this is just one of a number of terrific tournaments hosted by Feast Week. Maybe the best solid week of college basketball all season long, short of March. 11 days, 16th to the 26th of November. Get this, Fonz, 118 games played in places like Maui, Atlantis in the Bahamas, Orlando. How about this year, the PK 80 in Portland? Some blue bloods in that one.
Yes, indeed.
Rich Hollenberg, LaFonso Ellis inside the HTC Center, Coastal Carolina University. And there is a welcome sight for South Carolina. Frank Booker's first bucket of the game ties it up at 41.
And folks, make note of that one because Frank Booker can get hot and run off several threes in a row. Shooter like him gets a chance to see it go through. That could lead to a lot of threes here. He was over in the first half.
Illinois State led by 10. It's been a 14-4 South Carolina run. Fane quiets that run with his first bucket of the second half. He has 6.
Malik Yarbrough, 52 in red, is such a terrific playmaker. Had a small on the inside, little mismatch on the interior, but patient, able to find his teammate on the opposite side of the basket. Nicely done.
That's Yarbrough's 4th assist to go along with 12 points and 5 rebounds. As we come up on 11 minutes to go. Booker. Heat check after one shot.
Yeah, it was. That basketball should have gone inside.
And a double dribble by Yarbrough. He is very offensively gifted, Fonz, but he is prone to the turnover.
Indeed, but this one here, look, he's got a smaller Gravett on the inside here, is patient, backing him down, sees the double team come over. Look at the vision, folks. Nice little drop underneath, and Phil Fane knows exactly what to do with it when he catches it on the interior.
It's like back in the day when you would feed Dikembe.
Indeed. Dickey, he would dunk them all and wave the finger at you if he blocked you on the other end.
No.
Well done.
Speaking of those Denver Nuggets from the past and now the present, you could tip off your weekend with another NBA doubleheader on ESPN. First, it's the OKC Thunder taking on the Spurs at 8 Eastern, and then Boogie, the Brow, and the Pelicans are in Denver to take on the Nugs. Coverage begins with NBA Countdown Friday at 7 Eastern.
It's going to be interesting to see how the Nuggets, as the season goes on, as Silva's fouled right there, how they handle the pressure of coming within one game of making it to the playoffs last year. Nikola Jokic is an absolute monster on the
And, you know, Chris Silva's going to the line. He's
fella?
doing yeoman's work down low, just like you. young fella, number 5 pick in the 1992 draft.
Oh my gosh, those are good days.
Hey,
man.
one thing you didn't have to do as an NBA player that you do have to do sometimes as a college player is play an early morning game.
Yeah.
These two teams came into a cold gym on an early morning. What's that like?
We played the New York Knicks my 10th season. It was an 11 a.m. game. I was 0 in the first half, bro. And Pat Riley was like, what in the world is wrong with you? And then game's over. I ended up with 11 in the second half. And he was like, what was the matter with you? I was like, well, I don't play well before noon. So these two teams have struggled with shooting the basketball starting early as well.
You usually don't get up before noon.
I try not to.
Left hand by Yarborough, no. Tie ball game here in the HTC Center, 43 apiece with 10:18 to go. That foul's going to go on number 5, Frank Booker. Mike Kotsar back off the bench, and he'll take the place of Felipe Hasse.
And Rich, the difference has been for South Carolina, much more active on the defensive end and looking for early opportunities in transition. I think if they can continue to play that way, they can maybe give themselves a little cushion. But this Illinois State team is not going away. They got to continue to get the basketball in the hands of 52 in red, Malik Yarbrough.
A couple of screens for Evans. Finds Fain down low, and a foul is called. And that's the second consecutive foul called against Frank Booker. Second foul on Booker, team's 4th this half. Way off the mark, the offensive rebound from Fain. Up fakes and gets it to go. Big bucket by Phil Fain. Chance at a 3-point play.
Folks, we talked about all morning long how big this South Carolina team is on the inside, but it's plays like this from Phil Fain. Multiple ball fakes to get the defense up in the air. Look at the lefty with the great footwork on the interior, the patience, drawing an opportunity for an and one here. Phil Fain doing a beautiful job there in the paint.
I know you love that from the big man. Shot
yes,
fakes a little bit of a lost art.
Yes, it is.
Misses a chance to complete the 3-point play, but he does give Illinois State a 2-point lead. 45-43, under 10 to go. Two-man game, Holden, way off the mark. Kotsar grabbed the rebound, but it's going to be a South Carolina foul.
And I'll say again, Malik Yarbrough has done a great job at 6'6" of playing against the huge front line of South Carolina, holding his position on the interior, forcing them to have to go over the top. He's played a complete game to this point. Now we talked about him on the inside. Look who's bringing the basketball up the floor. What a luxury.
Dan Muller very comfortable with the ball in number 52's hands. Gives it off. Williams knocks down a big 3.
Another play created off the hands of Malik Yarbrough, 52 in red.
That's the 4th 3 of the game for the Redbirds. Kotsar, another big rebound, but he threw it away. And just when South Carolina finds themselves back in this game, they're now down 5.
Little in and out dribble, little cross, and now you draw that weak side defender. Too long of a run to get out there, and they knock down a huge momentum building 3. How about the job Madison Williams has done today?
7 points, all in the second half for Williams. Inside, Fain, look out, bodies on the floor.
They drew a charge there. First time Malik Yarbrough has been a little bit out of control on the offensive end, and what a nice job. Hasse stepping up and drawing that charge.
And that's 4 fouls now on Malik Yarbrough.
That's huge.
8:54 to go.
And forgive me, that's Silva actually taking that one on the inside. And whenever you leave your feet, you got to be looking to shoot the basketball, and he's looking to pass there. But what a nice job by Silva, putting himself in perfect position as a travel is created there off the defense. What a nice job by Silva, though.
South Carolina gives it right back. Number 2 in white, Hassani Gravett checks back in. Holden goes to the bench.
Keyshawn Evans, number 3 here in red with Malik Yarbrough out. He's got to be much more aggressive here on the offensive end, creating plays for himself and his teammates.
Here's Evans. And here comes Gravett. Chance to once again make it a one-possession ball game.
Still too many jump shots for South Carolina. They got to get that basketball inside into the short corner.
Nice drive and 2. And that's David Beatty with his first bucket of the afternoon, the freshman out of Philadelphia.
And sometimes it's not necessarily with the pass entry. You can do it off the dribble there. Beatty doing a nice job of getting to the rim.
Foul's called away from the ball on number 13 in white, Felipe Hasse. And with 7:59 to go, we have immediate timeout with the Redbirds up by just 3 in the second half. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Visit Myrtle Beach. Go to visitmyrtlebeach.com to plan your vacation. And by Gildan. Love your dad, but don't wear his underwear. Gildan, every thread counts. Well, the South Carolina Gamecocks, fresh off their first ever Final Four appearance last season, had it all lined up for them in this tournament. They didn't travel to Puerto Rico. Instead, they made the 2-hour drive to the HTC Center at Coastal Carolina University, and they're taking on a depleted, injured, rebuilding Illinois State team. But wouldn't you know it, Fonz, that's why they play the games.
Yes.
The 128-mile trip from Columbia, South Carolina to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and Frank Martin's Gamecocks are getting all they could handle from Dan Muller and this Illinois State team.
I appreciate the toughness and the fight that this Illinois State team has shown, folks. Just in their last game against Florida Gulf Coast, they were out-rebounded -24 on the glass. Today, against a much bigger team, they are holding their own. They're even right now. Shows you the energy and effort they've been expending today.
Taylor Bruniga, the 6'8 freshman out of Mapleton, Illinois, knocks down the free throw. He has 4.
5th in the running for Mr. Basketball in the state of Illinois, where I'm from.
That's right.
Great state.
Where'd you rank when you came out of college or high school going to Notre Dame?
I lost close round. I was number 2, lost by a vote. Still pains me to this day. But Eric Aronson, pretty good player. Went to Indiana, played in the league for a few years. It's funny how you don't forget that stuff, right?
No, long memories from you athletes. 5 on the shot clock.
Nice.
Grab it. Stops. Rolls off the rim. That's going to be off Evans. That should be South Carolina basketball.
And I like that last possession. They weren't able, South Carolina, to throw it inside to the free throw line area, the low post. Another way you can get it there is dribble drive, and Gravett made a really nice move there, just missed an easier shot.
Gamecocks down 5, 7.5 to go. They have never led in this game. First round action from the Puerto Rico tip-off in Myrtle Beach. Part of Feast Week presented by Lowe's. Left hand by Beatty, no good. Out of bounds, and it's going to be Illinois State basketball.
Because of the ineffectiveness of the bigs on the interior for South Carolina, now they're not looking to pass it there, not screening it at the top, and the guards are doing a nice job of getting some creases to the rim. They've just not been able to finish.
Fain tries the big follow and gets fouled. Will go to the line and shoot 2. That foul's going to go on Kotsar.
Rich, you can almost see that one developing as soon as Evans turned the corner there. All of the defensive attention went straight to him. Phil Fain had a straight line run at that one, able to come up with that offensive rebound, nearly a tip dunk.
Fouls beginning to pile up now for South Carolina. Mike Kotsar with 4, and he's going to go to the bench, replaced by 13 in white, the freshman Felipe Hasse.
Phil Fain was the 5th option on this offense last year. Excellent rebounder and defender. They really need him to be a threat on the offensive end, and though Malik Yarbrough has been the guy on the offensive end, he's made some big plays for Illinois State, both in the first and the second half here, including a huge block at the rim.
South Carolina tied it at 43, an 8-2 Illinois State run. Grab it. Around and out from 3. And the foul under the basket is going to send Chris Silva to the line. Chris Silva does not have a field goal in this contest, but he's making a living at the free throw line.
Yes, he does such a great job. If you don't block him out, he's the first person to that offensive glass. He's so active on both ends of the floor.
He's made his last 5 free throw attempts, and that follows a 3 for 7 start. So again, getting a little bit of a lather in a cold gym in the morning, and all of a sudden Chris Silva's stroke has really come to show itself.
Yeah, he was 8 of 10 from the foul line coming into this game, and that's a luxury when you have a big who can knock down their free throws, don't have to play that substitution game late in tight games and lose rebounding.
You were surprised, though, it doesn't seem like Frank Martin runs a lot of offense for Chris Silva.
Well, it's hard right now because they're playing against a 2-3 zone. Hard to run offense for one particular guy. Moving screen there.
And that's going to be another turnover for Illinois State. And South Carolina will once again look to chip away at this Redbirds lead. 51-47, 6.5 to go. The winner of this contest plays the winner of Boise State UTEP, which is coming up immediately following this game over on ESPNU. We hope you'll join us for that. And again, in these tournaments, you're guaranteed 3 games. So it's not just win and go home or win or go home. You're guaranteed 3 games. That's why the coaches and the programs like to get involved in these type of tournaments.
And folks, if you've not seen or heard of Boise State's Chandler Hutchison, must-see TV. That 6'7" guy can really play.
Three freshmen on the floor for Frank Martin right now.
The ball's got to go inside.
Have to check outside and see if pigs are flying. Grab it. Goes into the media row.
South Carolina,
okay.
Yeah, South Carolina's playing right into the hands right now of that Illinois State defense. They want them to shoot that 3-point basketball out there because they've not shot it with any confidence. Every time they shoot that one, especially if they're not getting it off a reversal pass, that's a win for Illinois State.
Neither team shooting it particularly well, and that's something that we expected to see, quite frankly, coming into this tournament. We thought just about all the teams in this 8-team field were going to be good shooting teams. Hasn't played out so far in game 1. Silva the rebound.
He's open. Hase's open down there. They got to throw it inside.
They find Silva.
Charge.
They wave it off, and it's going the other way. Phil Fain a little slow to get up.
Yeah, I think that was a charge there.
And if that is, and it is, it's going to be on Silva, his 4th.
Rich, this is what some bigs have fallen in love with. Right here, trying to go through just take the shot or go to the other side. Chris Silva, Hase, Kotsar, the bigs for South Carolina have not made good decisions when they've caught the basketball in the paint here, and it's really cost them throughout this game. That's part of the reason why they're down 4 now. Toward the balance of this game, they've got to make better decisions when they catch the basketball in the low post.
5.5 to go. Silva with 10.6 rebounds, but now 4 fouls. And Yarborough will go to the line. And Chris Silva called for the foul again. And if that's foul number 5, which I believe it is because they got him with the offensive on the other end, he's done.
And that's massive because he's their best interior player on both the offensive and the defensive ends. That's a tough one there. And the reason the officials called that one is because he never established good defensive position there. And if you're off balance or not in position and there's contact made, they're going to call that on the defense.
And if there is something that Chris Silva needs to improve on this year from last year, it's staying out of foul trouble. He fouled out 10 times last year.
Yes. Watch this, folks. Never got into legal guarding position, was moving there. And when that contact is made inside, the officials are going to make that call.
Malik Yarborough, 10 for 11 from the free throw line. He has 14 points to lead the Redbirds, and he has extended their lead to 53-47.
Gravett and Booker have to lead the charge on the offensive end for South Carolina, or they have no shot at winning this game.
5 minutes left. Illinois State. Kotsar grabs that ball. You could see the fire in his eyes. This team is trying to get themselves a little momentum, something they really haven't found at all this afternoon. They've tied the game a couple of times, have not led yet.
Well, what's happening on the offensive end or the defensive end for South Carolina with this small lineup in for Illinois State, they're finding whoever one of the bigs is guarding, they're just taking them off the dribble. Be interesting to see if Frank Martin goes small.
The one more, Hasse from the corner. Nice pass from Gravett.
And that's what they can do is on that reversal pass. Again, there's several bigs here for South Carolina that are allowed to take those corner threes. Beautiful ball movement and a big shot from Hasse.
Evans, no. Fain can't follow.
Good decision there by Evans.
Backdoor, Evans. Now Fain on the baseline. Woo. Strong move by Phil Fain. And he has another chance at a three-point play.
The speed and quickness of the front line of the Redbirds is taking over this game right now. Clearly have the momentum. How about the ball reversal? Phil Fain catches that basketball, fakes it, goes inside, draws a little contact, and able to finish over the top. Levitation, hesitation, and the finish. Big play there for the Redbirds.
Well, tonight on the 6 o'clock Sports Center with Michael and Jamel, they'll look at Kyrie versus Steph. What a matchup that is. Can the Warriors stop the Celtics win streak this season? 13-2 this year, Fonz. Plus a Thursday night football preview. Big Ben and the Steelers taking on Marcus Mariota and the Titans. And they'll also have the newly announced National League MVP winner joining the show. That's Sports Center on ESPN at 6 Eastern. Also streaming live on the ESPN app. South Carolina missing the likes of Sindarius Thornwell, PJ Dozier, Dwayne Notice. All those backcourt mates were such great leaders on the floor and in the locker room. And now Frank Martin is faced with a little bit of a rebuild with this team. I think they're much better than predicted. They're supposed to be 11th in the SEC this year. Now, this is a good year for the SEC, but Frank Martin's team is going to have to climb that ladder this year.
Well, I asked him yesterday with 2 minutes to go in the game who's going to be the go-to guy. Last year, obviously, it was clearly Sindarius Thornwell. He looked at me, he was like, still figuring it out.
Minaya. And an Illinois State foul. Chris Silva may be the man, but he's got to be on the floor to be the man. Fouled out a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah, and we talked about that really hurts them on the offensive end from a post standpoint. He's their best post player. On the defensive end, he's the guy that, you know, you make a mistake out there on the perimeter, he's the guy erasing it at the rim, and we've seen that on a couple of occasions. So that's a huge loss for South Carolina. But that's why Gravett, number 2 in White, and Booker from the perimeter are going to have to carry, and they need a little bit more activity from Hasse on the interior as well.
And that's a snapshot of the difference between last year's South Carolina team and this year's. Last year they played Syracuse's 2-3 zone and they torched Jim Boeheim's team. They don't have those shooters this year.
They had shot it well coming into this game, 44% on the year, but they've been ice cold today.
Still just a 4-point game. They're within shooting distance for sure. 3:27 to go. Tinsley. No. Gravett leads the charge for the Gamecocks. Deep three by Booker. Got it! And Frank Martin raises both hands like he's Rocky Balboa.
Well, we just said who needs to get involved in this game. That's a big three from Booker.
Foul before the shot.
And folks, Frank Booker, number 5 in white, has really struggled from the three-point line. But when you need big plays, you need guys who have been there before. And the senior comes through knocking down a huge, much-needed 3 there to close the gap to 1.
And for what it's worth, you got to respect the confidence of Frank Booker.
Absolutely.
He's been so poor shooting this afternoon, and yet game is on the line. He still has the confidence to take that shot.
And you expect that from a senior. And Frank Martin actually did go small. He's got Minaya now guarding Malik Yarbrough. That's a big call. That's a big test for a young freshman to be able to take on a guy like Malik Yarbrough, and it showed on that last possession.
Yarbrough leads all scorers with 16 points, most of those coming at the free throw line where he's 12 for 13.
Quick sub here. Frank Martin took Minaya out, and it brought Kotsart back in. And so that actually favors Illinois State on the offensive end because the bigs have not been able to guard Yarbrough on the offensive end.
Booker thought about it. Drives in, too strong, and the foul's called, so Frank Booker will go to the line. Booker's got big game experience in his career at Oklahoma. He played with Buddy Hield and Jordan Woodard and those great teams, went to a Sweet 16 before transferring out.
He's an excellent three-point shooter, 6 of 11 coming into this game, and just not been able to find the range. But as we said, with all the new pieces this year, Frank Booker, as the senior, has got to be the guy that's leading the charge. You know you're going to get it from him on the defensive end, but he's got to be able to make some shots on the offensive end. Both he and Gravett, number 2 in white.
Well, Frank Booker has the last 4 points for the South Carolina Gamecocks. Part of Feast Week, the 2K Classic. Virginia Tech, St. Louis, Providence, and Mike Hopkins and the Washington Huskies.
It's going to be interesting to see if Mike Hopkins replicates what Jim Boeheim has done and plays 2-3 the entire time, or will he mix it up? Be interesting to see.
Two-point game off the window. Things are going right for the Redbirds. 14 for Evans. Kotsar.
I thought he got fouled there. There's a little contact on his right side. Missed one there. And folks, sometimes it's just going your way. And I did not hear Keyshawn call bank either, and he knows it. Oh, boy.
Keyshawn Evans, a natural 2-guard. He's got the ball in his hands more. And as you've seen, he can score the basketball.
Fine Booker.
There he is from the wing. Not this time. Fain the rebound.
Yeah, I thought he got fouled there. I thought a little contact on his arm and wrist as he was releasing that basketball. It's 2 now that I felt were missed.
Counting down, under 2 minutes to go. Can South Carolina somehow find a way to come back? They have never led in this game. They trail by 5.
And Rich, remember what we just said. Remember that substitution now with Kotsart back in the game? Guess who it was guarding Yarbrough? He has no chance to guard Yarbrough off the dribble. And how about the awareness and recognition from Yarbrough to know it and just put his head down and get to the rim, drawing that foul.
And now they're forced to go small, even if they didn't want to. Frank Martin's 2 bigs, Mike Kotsar, Chris Silva, both fouled out. And Malik Yarbrough finds himself back at the free throw line.
Really worked on that body, was a little doughy coming in, but recognizing that the clock is ticking on the junior, really got himself in great shape, and his stamina is showing today. He's done a little bit of everything for the Redbirds.
He's 13 for 15 from the free throw line today, and his 1 free throw gives Illinois State a 62-56 lead. Here's Myers, calls his own number. Tough cover for the freshman Minaya. Yarbrough takes it all the way, and he'll go back to the line.
Rich, what's happening is they're allowing Yarbrough. No one on this team of South Carolina has been able to guard him off the dribble. But once he breaks that three-point line area, your defense has to get over and be there early. Everyone's coming over late, which is allowing him to get down around the smile line, which is why he's been able to draw so many fouls. The help defense has to be early for South Carolina. It's been late often here in the second half.
Malik Yarbrough has now missed his last 2 free throws. He's 17 points to lead all scorers. Takes that one. 18 for Yarbrough. A 7-point Illinois State lead. Counting down to 1 minute to play.
I'd like to see that ball grab its hands this time in the game, allow him to make some plays.
Minaya short. Gets his own rebound, and Justin Minaya will go to the line. Taylor Bruniga whistled for that foul, so he fouls out. And now you'll see William Tinsley check back in with 1:05 to go. Naya has 9 points. What a ginormous win this would be for Dan Muller and the Illinois State Redbirds.
Need some full court pressure here. Make or miss, really, from South Carolina.
Good hands by Beatty. 10 on the shot clock. And a foul on the floor on South Carolina.
Right after that play was made, Beatty, number 0 in white, went over and slapped the table, and I can visibly see him say, "Help, man." And my point is the defensive help and rotation of Carolina has just not been there consistently enough tonight to keep Illinois State from getting to the rim.
Evans with 15. And a timeout called with 43 seconds to go. We'll take our final timeout with Illinois State up 7, looking to pull off the upset.
Folks, the defensive rotation for South Carolina that's been so good all last year and good this year has just not been there. Watch David Beatty here after he tries to block that shot. He draws a foul, walks over, slaps the table, and you can see his mouth say, "Help, man." And that rotation has been late all afternoon long, and that's really what's put South Carolina in the tough spot and has them down 7. And that is not Frank Martin type defense. They're usually early, making you have to make an extra pass. That has not happened this afternoon with any consistency, which is why they find themselves down 7.
Illinois State closing this game. Right now they're on an 8-2 run. A free throw by Evans makes it a 9-2 run. And now time is of the essence for Frank Martin and the South Carolina Gamecocks. Here's Beatty for 3.
Now some full court pressure here.
5-point game. Fain, easy.
On those situations, Rich, you got to take a foul as that basketball's coming over half court because they have numbers on the backside. Nicely executed there by Illinois State.
A double-double for Phil Fain, 14 points, 10 rebounds. Illinois State started the season on the road in West Central Florida in Fort Myers. They got drilled by Florida Gulf Coast, went back to Normal, Illinois, now on the road again on the East Coast here in South Carolina, and they have looked like the team with more pep in their step than the South Carolina Gamecocks, who got on a bus and drove 2 hours to get here.
Well, we showed you a little graphic earlier with Dan Muller really upset about them not making the tournament, asking high major teams to come and play them. You talk about signature wins that could help you at the end of the season. This is one of them if they can pull it off here this afternoon.
Freshman Beatty knocks down both free throws. It's a 5-point game, 22.9 to go. We got a foul right away.
The foul.
Gravett didn't.
Too much time.
Precious time ticking off the clock. 15.6 to go. And that's going to be Beatty's 5th foul. The 3rd Gamecock to foul out of this contest.
The inability to contain the dribble drive and how late the rotations have been coming over to help has really put them in massive foul trouble situations this afternoon.
A low-scoring game. The 2-3 zone, really one of the main storylines from Illinois State. They came out, maybe surprised Frank Martin and the Gamecocks a little bit with how much they went with that zone, and it worked, so they stuck with it, and they're holding the Gamecocks to just 62 points in this contest. 6.9 to go.
Really neutralized the advantage that South Carolina had on the interior because the bigs did not get it done collectively across that front line for South Carolina.
Booker for 3. Got it with 4.6 to go. 3rd 3 of the afternoon for Frank Booker. Well, with Illinois State up 3, shooting free throws. It's not over just yet with 4.0 to go.
He makes this free throw. It's a 2-possession game.
That was huge. 17 for Keyshawn Evans. And Dan Muller calls the timeout. 3 games in 4 days for the 8 teams who've come down to Myrtle Beach to take part in Feast Week's Puerto Rico tip-off. If Illinois State could hold on, they'll have their first win of the season. And as we said, it won't get any easier when they leave Myrtle Beach, but at least they will have a signature win this early in the season to build on.
Yeah, from a team that went to the Final Four last year, from a powerful SEC this year, this is that signature win, if they can hold on, that they were looking for.
And it's not too early to talk about things like RPI, because this will look like a really good win come March. Assuming Illinois State, and we are making an assumption, Illinois State wins this and holds on, they will face the winner of Boise State and UTEP. Here's Minaya from half court. It's no good. And Illinois State, who led from the opening tip and never trailed in this game, pulls off a big-time upset in the quarterfinal round. Your final from the HTC Center in Coastal Carolina. Illinois State upsets South Carolina 69-65 to advance to tomorrow afternoon's semifinal at the Puerto Rico tip-off. For Fonz, Rich Hollenberg will be back on ESPNU, but now it's the Paul Feinbaum Show on ESPN2.